After an 11-hour flight from LA to Fiji, and after 2 days on Fiji, we took a 2-hour flight to Auckland on New Zealand Air. The Auckland airport must be some 20 miles from downtown Auckland, the site of our motel. So I had a harrowing introduction to driving our rented Yaris on the left in urban traffic. Our motel was located right in the middle of downtown Auckland on Wyndham near Queen Street. Our hotel was a tall, skinny building, no wider than an ordinary motel room. These rooms weren't ordinary. The Ibis Budget Hotel. This hall leading to our room looked like the hall on a cruise ship. This is our diminutive room in the Ibis Hotel. Much smaller than a stateroom on a cruise ship. We have to deal with what we need to deal with on the bed. There's no place, no flat surface to put anything. And it's not cheap at that, but it is downtown. If we want to park for a day, it's $50. Maybe we'll get 15% off, courtesy of the hotel. Can't figure out what they're doing there. They've got a huge drilling rig. They're digging for a piling, or I don't know. Joanne thinks they're building a subway. I don't know. On our one day in Auckland, we jumped on a hop-on, hop-off bus and did the tourist routine. In the morning, we spent an hour walking around the waterfront area just looking for the bus stop. All right, we're down at the Princess Wharf. We've been around and around the block. We must have walked easily a mile trying to find the ticket booth for this hop-on, hop-off tourist bus. Now we're probably waiting a half an hour for the next bus since we just missed one. It's okay. There's Auckland trying to be Shanghai or Toronto, but they've got a ways to go, and somebody told us they're building a new building here that will employ 10,000 construction workers, and to them it's a very big deal. And incidentally, they are building a subway. Here are the tourists, and here comes the bus. Boy, are we ever tourists. The bus made many more stops than we could have availed ourselves of during the day, so we simply rode along the coast and hopped off at 2 stops. The Auckland Museum and an extinct volcano called Mount Eden. We're touring the waterfront. Here we're driving along the coastal highway. I'm going to insert some of the driver's monologues so you can hear a New Zealand voice.
Dominating the harbour entrance is Rangitoto Island. Rangitoto emerged from the sea around 600 years ago in a series of fiery volcanic explosions.
Kiwis are noted, of course, for their sailing prowess.
To the front can be seen a good view of the downtown skyline.
Our first hopping off place was the Auckland War Memorial Museum. Here you see the back entrance where the bus passengers unload. And here you see north from the museum grounds the downtown area. This is just inside the back entrance. The atrium presents a rather interesting space. This has been a year for museums. There are so many myriad displays in a museum like this, the sheer number overwhelms the visitor. I'll confine my attention to one that caught my eye. This, by the way, is a replica of a Maori lodge. This dugout outrigger was made in Fiji, and the explanation says that they were various sizes, and the biggest one carried 200 people, required a crew of 40. It was up to 30 meters long. This thing would move at a rate of 8 or 9 knots, which is incredible. It's not primitive. On the upper floor, there's a war memorial for memorializing New Zealand's wars. The museum is, after all, named the Auckland War Memorial Museum. An understanding I'll take home with me from the museum is the realization that the whites in New Zealand were fighting the Maoris at the same time America was fighting Indian wars in the West, and in much the same way. Our last stop on the hop-on, hop-off tour was at Mount Eden, one of several extinct volcanic cones that dot the landscape within Auckland's city limits.
Hey, we're going up Mount Eden, outside of Auckland. You'll see the whole town. This is a volcano, dormant, extinct, who knows in New Zealand.
From Mount Eden's summit, we get a commanding view of Auckland. In the foreground, we can see the caldera of the extinct volcano. In the background, downtown Auckland and its iconic radio tower. You see these other cones in the midst of the city, like so many acne pimples on the face of the town. There are two you can see right there. Now this is looking east. The city is north. We put in a full day on our hop-on, hop-off bus. We saw parks and residential areas and no run-down, squalid neighborhoods. We don't really know if there are any in Auckland.